Hello, I'm Senator Tom Harkin of the state of Iowa in the United States. And I want to thank you for the invitation to address the EU network of PhDs working on the UN Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I would love to be with you in Ireland, but I appreciate this opportunity to share some thoughts with you by video. First, my congratulations to the 14 PhD researchers who are studying how to advance public policy to protect the civil rights of people with disabilities through the CRPD. You will have a great impact on ensuring the treaty reaches all parts of the EU, making the lives of people with disabilities better, enhancing their quality of life, and ensuring they are part of the rich, engaging fabric of the EU. This effort by the EU and the work of each of the 14 scholars is critically important. Ratification is only the first step. Following ratification, what matters is the rigor and effectiveness of implementation. So your work, the work of the faculty and the PhD candidates, will serve all of the EU and really the entire world. So I salute your dedication to this important challenge. Your network has been highlighted by the European Commission as a multi-country, multi-university success. But the true test of success will be the impact of the network as the newly minted policy doctorates promote the values of the CRPD and ensure that its principles take root in each of the EU countries. My own work in the area of disability policy was grounded in my family experience. My older brother Frank became deaf when he was just a child, and he was taken from his family, forced to live apart from our family, and put into a special school. And as he was growing up, he was told what he could do and what he couldn't do. His horizons were limited, and he was discriminated against in ways that were both blatant and subtle. I pledged that if I ever were able to gain a position where I could influence how people with disabilities were treated, that I would work to change not only policies, but also attitudes about what was possible for people with disabilities. The insidious nature of low expectations is one of the biggest barriers facing people with disabilities. This closes doors at the outset of a person's quest for independence. Low expectations rob people with disabilities of their opportunities and ensure that they will never be considered for jobs in which they could excel if given a chance, and modest support services in many cases. So I pledged that I would work to change those policies and attitudes if I ever got into a position, and I was fortunate to gain a position in the U.S. Senate that gave me this opportunity. So I have spent about 40 years now working to change policies and attitudes. Of course, my proudest moment was in 1990 with the passage here in the United States of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the landmark civil rights law that protects people with disabilities living in the U.S. from discrimination. In the years since then, the ADA, as it is popularly known here, has become a shining example of policy that opens doors for people with disabilities and ensures they are treated equally. And of course, much of the ADA served as the foundation for the CRPD. I am particularly proud that the United Nations used the principles, values, and much of the language that I wrote for the ADA to develop the treaty. Now, the work of your network comes at a particularly timely moment in history, marked by major changes in the international community's recognition of people with disabilities. We're seeing progress in expanding opportunities for people with disabilities to make their own decisions, to live in their own homes and in our communities, and to work at jobs with the supports they need to be successful. In addition, the emerging 21st century global economy, built on telecommunications, information technology, and new ways to access, analyze, and communicate information, is providing more opportunities for people with disabilities to have meaningful employment. But we must be vigilant to to ensure that the new technologies are conceived from the very beginning to include people with disabilities. In other words, with universal design for all. As we look to the future, there is one goal that I am working on daily right now, and that is to have the United States ratify the CRPD. My country must join the worldwide community of over 140 countries that have already ratified this treaty. So I'm doing my best to make sure this happens this year. In closing, again, I want to recognize some of my fellow Americans. I have been told that your network draws its PhD student pool from a wide range of nations, and 4 are from the United States. Abigail Rikas from Massachusetts, Robert Huffaker from Texas, Anna Arnstein Kerslake from California, and Anthony Gianomis from North Carolina. So I applaud their work abroad and that of their European colleagues to advance the implementation of the convention. Thank you again for inviting me to speak with you by video. I congratulate all the PhD researchers who have engaged in this exceptional work. I wish them and the network continued success in paving a clearer path toward equality, access, and opportunity for all people with disabilities.